I'm Katherine Johnson, and this is our second installment in our series about manding. In the first video, we discussed what a mand is, different ways to mand, and the different parts of a mand. Let's just quickly review. A mand is a type of communication that makes it clear what a person wants or needs. Different ways people mand include sounds or words, gestures or sign language, a picture exchange system, or an electronic device. The three parts to a mand that are important to keep in mind are the motivation, the mand itself, and the specific reinforcer. Today we're going to talk about preparing for teaching your child to mand. First, we'll go over how to choose the first mands to teach. Then we will look at the types of mands and how to choose the right one for your child. And last, we'll talk about motivation and the setup of your teaching sessions. How to select the first mands to teach. Here's a checklist for picking the right items to start with when you're teaching mands. Items should be specific, easy to deliver, short in duration, and present in daily life. The first mands you choose should be for specific favorite items or activities. For example, if your child really enjoys playing with a toy piano, then you might want to choose a mand for piano first. Favorite toys, food, activities are all great places to start. At the beginning, you'll want to stay away from any words that are too general, like more, eat, please, toy. Teaching these general mands early on can slow down a child's progress. For instance, the word more can be used for many different items and activities, and that can be really confusing at first for a child. Instead, choose mands that refer to one specific thing. For example, if you teach the mand for tickle, it's really only associated with one activity, tickling. This will help your child learn mands more quickly and help their vocabulary grow. You can teach those more general mands down the road once your child is manding for lots of other specific things independently. You'll want to give the item to your child or start the activity within a few seconds of the mand. So you'll choose mands that are easy to deliver right away. As one example, a mand for hug, it's easy to respond to immediately. A mand for playground, not so much, because you would have to actually travel to the playground. When choosing a mand to teach, be sure that you've got those items or activities ready so you can always respond to your child's mands immediately. It can also be helpful to choose quick activities for mands. For example, watching a short video clip, or eating a small piece of a snack, or being pushed on a swing. These are all naturally quick activities, and so because they're short and they can be requested over and over again in a session, giving your child a lot of chances to practice every session. Finally, you'll want to select items or activities that are already important parts of your child's daily life. If you teach a mand for an item that your child doesn't see every day, there won't be that many chances for them to practice. If you teach mands for items that they do see every day, you'll be much more likely to see your child manding outside of teaching sessions, which is really what we want. How to select the form of the mand. Your clinical team will recommend what type of mand to start with, but here's some things to know as you discuss this decision. Remember, we can teach a child to mand using spoken sounds or words, sign language, a picture exchange system, or program on a tablet or a computer. Two things that are really important to remember when choosing the type of mand to teach. Number one, the type of mand should let your child be as independent as possible. Number two, the mand should be understood by most people in their life. You and your child's clinical team will discuss your child's skill levels when choosing the type of manding to teach. So for instance, in order to use spoken sounds or words, your child would need to be able to imitate mouth and tongue movements. Sign language requires copying hand motions and some fine motor skills. To use a picture exchange system, a child's got to be able to select a picture from an array of pictures. And for a computer system, the child needs to be able to use a mouse or a touch screen. Your child will start with one type of mand. This doesn't mean that they're going to use that type of mand forever. Some children start with sign language or a picture exchange system or a computer system, and these children might switch over to using spoken words later. In fact, learning to mand independently with a non-speaking system is even really helpful to getting children to learn spoken words later on. Motivation. We talked about motivation in the first video. We're talking about it now, and you'll hear about it in the next video as well. It's one of the most important parts of mand teaching. Some children show really, really clear signs of motivation when they want something. I had one kiddo who used to take us by the arm and drag us to whatever he wanted and then like pull our hand in the right direction. Other kids might be more subtle. I had a little guy who was pretty serious who would sort of like softly cry and look mournfully at what he wanted out of the corner of his eye. You already know your child better than anyone. The point I'm trying to make is that paying attention to what your child is motivated by is really key to teaching mands. Your child's motivation also might come and go. They might be interested in a particular item and then switch their attention to something different a minute later. When this happens, it's really important to switch your teaching to whatever is motivating to your child in that moment. It's always best to move on from an activity if your child's lost interest. One of the ways to keep the motivation strong is to set up your teaching area correctly. Your child should have lots of different chances to practice mands during their normal daily routines, but to make as much progress as possible, you should also set up special teaching sessions. So let's talk a little bit about how to set things up to make the room just right for manding. The first thing is that you want to make sure you have a way to limit the items and activities that you're going to be using in your manding session. If your child's able to get these things without manding, they won't be motivated to mand. The second thing is to clear the area of anything that might distract your child. You'll want anything distracting to either be put away, out of sight, or taken out of the room. This will help you to get your child's attention and will help your child to focus on the motivating items in your session. Next, you'll want to have the items and activities that you're teaching really close to you. These things should be under your control, not available to your child. Remember, the goal is for your child to learn that communication is powerful. So you want to be able to deliver those specific reinforcers immediately after they mand. And last, you want to make sure that you're presenting yourself to the child as the person who's giving them the items and activities. It's really important that you set yourself up to be the bearer of all of the good things, not the taker-backer of all of their favorite things. This will make them want to practice manding with you, and as they practice manding with you, they'll see how valuable it is to communicate. Okay, well, I hope this video on getting ready to teach mands has been helpful, and next time we'll go over the actual mand teaching procedure and talk a little bit more about motivation. Hope to see you then.